Welcome back to Power and Politics. First, it was new graphic labels on cigarette packs. Then there was that Dire Straits song, which was banned from radio the other day for using an inappropriate word. And now, Victoria, British Columbia, has slapped restrictions on tanning beds. And if one federal MP has his way, similar restrictions could spread across the country. Let me show you the hot sheet on the new hot rules. January 13th, Victoria, BC passes a bylaw banning minors under the age of 18 from using tanning beds. It's the first law of its kind in Canada. There's also a private member's bill before the House of Commons right now requiring larger warning labels to be placed in clear view on tanning beds. And the bill wants those labels to show links between cancer and ultraviolet rays. And it also recommends those under 18 to stop using tanning beds. But does the government belong in the tanning beds of the nation? Would larger warning labels stop you from getting your winter bronze on? Joining me now is the Manitoba Conservative MP, James Bezan. Mr. Bezan, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
The link between tanning beds and cancer is, of course, a very personal issue for you. Why don't you tell our audience first why you feel so strongly that warning labels need to be made about indoor tanning?
Well, I've had a very personal experience with it because my wife has had two bouts of melanoma skin cancer, one back in 2002 and then another one in 2008. Both of those skin cancers related to overexposure to the sun. Just like so many of her generation and my generation, we spent a lot of time outdoors, swimming. She was a lifeguard when she was a teenager, and so she spent a lot of time out in the sun. And during the off season, her and I and many others often visited tanning salons to maintain that glow that we thought was healthy. Unknowing to us at that time, but we sure know now, that that overexposure and sunburns that she endured when she was a teenager came back to haunt her in the form of melanoma skin cancer. And in 2009, in the spring, they actually had even told us that it had metastasized into her lungs. And luckily, after 30 scary days after removing part of one nodular, turned out that those tumors were benign. But it was after that I decided we needed to start taking some action on this in the spring of 2009, and I started putting together a private members bill. And of course, in August of 2009, the International Agency on the Research of Cancer recommended to the World Health Organization that there needed to be an increase in the level of risk factors to artificial tanning devices and moved it to the highest warning level possible, putting it in the same category as radiation from x-ray machines and tobacco. So it is very serious, and we need to make sure that our youth and anyone that uses a tanning device, an artificial tanning device, understand the risks that they're taking when they step into those beds.
Let me just show our viewers, if Jerry will throw up a board of the warning labels that you want on tanning beds, and then our viewers can see tanning beds cause cancer. That's the warning label that you want to be there. Do you think these will actually deter people from using beds?
It's one step, and it's about as far as I can go federally through our jurisdiction to ensure that all the equipment that's out there are properly labeled. And I want one larger label put right on the top of the tanning bed so people can see it. And the second label is a smaller one that actually goes on the bumper just as you slide in, because often you walk in and the tanning bed is open and you're just sliding into the tanning bed. So we want one. First of all, we want to make sure people understand that there is a serious danger here, that you are taking some unnecessary risks, and overexposure can make it an elevated opportunity for cancer to manifest itself in your skin and throughout your entire body. I
just want to give you the industry organization's view on this, all right? Because a lot of they're saying the Joint Canadian Tanning Association posted a response here to the Victoria decision that we're talking about today to ban those under the age of 18 from using tanning beds. Now, let me show you what they're saying. Here's what they're saying. While these measures are well-intentioned, there's no data to suggest that tanning is more dangerous for any specific age group. We believe that proper education, not blanket regulation, is the effective way to enact good public health policy. That's what the Tanning Association is saying. What's your response to that?
Look, I've met with the Joint Industry Tanning Association, and they have a vested interest here. We know that. The reality is the World Health Organization, under the advice of medical doctors from around the world that make up the International Agency on Cancer Research, had done a significant amount of studies around the world, and based on the finding of those studies, over 20 studies have determined that there is an increased elevated risk factor with exposure to artificial tanning devices. The UV radiation that is in those tanning beds, even in the old tanning beds, is 5 times more powerful than the sun. The newer tanning beds, some of this data shows that they're even 22 times stronger than the sun, without any filtration, no ozone layer there to take out some of those harmful UV rays.
Well, so when they say you're no more likely to get a dangerous burn outside when you're not paying attention, you know, I don't know, you're going golfing and you don't wear your sunblock, or the kids are playing outside and they don't have sunblock on, then at a tanning bed. They're saying it's about personal responsibility. I mean, doesn't that jibe, to be frank, with the politics of your own party?
Oh, and that's why my legislation is all about taking those measures for public awareness, putting the proper labeling in place. You know, we can never go out and you know, control the sun and how much sun exposure people are going to get outside, but we can control how much they get indoors. And so if they're going to use artificial tanning devices, they have to know those risk factors. Now, when we look at what's happened in Victoria this week, I applaud their efforts, because I do believe in banning youth. We ban youth from having access to alcohol. We ban youth from using cigarettes. And so why wouldn't we want to ban them from this category 1 high risk factor?
But they say there's no evidence.
Carcinogenic.
They say there's no evidence that young people are more affected than older people.
Well, you know, I'm going to take the advice of the Canadian Dermatologists Association, the Canadian Medical Association, the Canadian Cancer Society, and the World Health Organization that shows that the data supports that there is a significantly increased elevated risk factor of 75% for youth that receive sunburns or burns through tanning devices of having skin cancer down the road, usually between 30 and 50 years of age. So I'm going to take that advice over those that have a vested interest that might be skewing the studies that are out there and not looking at the entire facts the way they're actually been determined and published by the doctors and scientists around the world.
Mr. Bezan, I appreciate you coming in today. I know you're fighting to get those warning labels everywhere. We'll be watching this as it goes forward after that decision today. Thanks so much for coming in. I know you went through a snowstorm.
Nope, thank you very much, and all the best in the new year.